I think it's about time that I tackle the grievances that everybody seems to have regarding the mother in Big Red Lollipop. Now, the mother, I have read some of the online reviews. Sometimes they make me laugh. There are some people who look at the book and they absolutely hate. Hate's a strong word, but they absolutely hate the mother in Big Red Lollipop. They see her as being completely insensitive without realizing that this story is also about cultural differences. Okay, there's a very strong culture clash in this story. Now, which culture is better? Of course, people here would think that theirs is, but I would actually argue it's not so cut and dry. It's actually a cultural misunderstanding in Big Red Lollipop. It's not something that is malicious. The mother is not malicious, okay? Now, so in Big Red Lollipop, of course, what happens is that a girl named Rabina gets invited to a birthday party. Now, when she runs home, and Sophie Blackall really is brilliant. I mean, she's the artist. She's won the Caldecott twice, and she deserved it. She didn't win for this book, but I thought she deserved it. But anyways, she is brilliant. What she does in this picture, so Rabina's running home from school, and she's all excited. That's the first page. And then the second and third page is this, where she's coming home, and she tells her mom, Ami, I've been invited to a birthday party. There's going to be games and toys, cake and ice cream. Can I go? Now, what Sophie Blackall does so brilliantly is she shows that there is different culture here, okay? The kids are wearing regular Western clothes. You know, they don't look out of place. But the mother is wearing traditional Pakistani clothes. Now, what most of you might not realize is that back when I was growing up, we didn't do birthday parties in Pakistan, okay? So it wasn't a thing. Birthday parties are not a thing everywhere in the world. I mean, it's kind of becoming a bit more ubiquitous, but back then, and even to now to a certain degree, there are places that don't do birthday parties. I mean, for example, I have my kids and my grandkids, we don't do birthdays. And I'm so glad because I've got 13 grandkids. And having to keep track of all those birthdays would be a big chore. We do Eid, okay? We don't do birthdays. But anyway, so not everybody does birthdays. But what happens is, so the mother says, what's a birthday party? And Rabina says, it's when they celebrate the day they were born. Why do they do that? They just do. Can I go? And of course, during this time, the little sister, Sana, who is me. My name is Rukhsana. Okay. The little sister says, I want to go too. Okay. Now, so Rabina says, I can't take her. She's not invited. And this is where the mother doesn't understand. Because in Pakistani culture, especially back then, you wouldn't think of inviting one child, okay? It's against the laws of hospitality. If you want somebody from a household to come, you would invite the whole household. In Pakistani culture, even now to a certain degree, you would not invite one child. You would invite the whole family. Because to have a child go without the rest of the family, and even to have other kids in the family want to come and they're not allowed, that's just against the laws of hospitality. Okay, like in Pakistani culture, a guest is an honor. If somebody wants to come and visit you, they are honoring you. And the idea of serving your guest is such an honor that you wouldn't think of refusing a guest. So in the mother's idea, in the mother's mind, it's inconceivable. It's not a big deal to have the younger sister come along. It's not a big deal because you just add another chair. That's all. You know, that's all you would do. So the two cultures are the one where only the person who is invited, that where the host, well, even in Pakistani culture, the host decides who's invited. But in Western culture, only the kid who was invited to the party is supposed to go. But in Pakistani culture, you wouldn't just invite one kid. If there's more people in the family, you would invite the whole family. So it's a different set of ideals, which is better. You know, in some ways, you could think that the Pakistani model is better because it's more inclusive. You're inviting the whole family, and people are very careful with their children. They don't want their children to go to a strange house where they don't know the other people in the house. They want to keep an eye on their children. So they're more protective. Whereas in Western culture, you would just automatically let your child, one child goes to the party and that's it. And it's carefully curated so that there's treats for those children and those children only. Whereas in Pakistani culture, you would just give it to everybody. Okay? So which culture is better? It's not about that. But the fact is, it's different cultures. Okay? In the mother's mind, she's not doing anything wrong. She can't understand why they wouldn't open their house to the rest of the other kid in the family as well. I mean, it's not like she's asking to come, but she's thinking that, yeah, my other daughter would like to come too. So it's a different way of thinking, okay? And people need to stop feeling so smug and superior in their own cultural attitudes without considering that, hey, what's at the bottom of this story is really a cultural misunderstanding. Okay? It's a different way of doing things. Is one better than the other? I don't think so. They each have their logic. They each have their way of thinking. But neither of them is absolutely wrong. Okay? So that's what I want you to think about. You could actually include this to the students so that they understand that where the mother is coming from. It actually deepens the story by realizing that the mother doesn't intend to be malicious. She's not setting out trying to ruin Rabina's chances at making friends. Of course, that happens, but that's not her intention. Her intention is not to ruin her daughter. Her intention is just, in her mind, to be fair. Okay? So, I mean, this is something I didn't even think about when I was writing. I thought, yes, of course it's a different culture. But this definitely came out in terms of the reaction to the story. Okay. Now, of course, Sana in the story does not behave herself. I did not behave myself, but and that the story is really between the two sisters. But in the background, the mother's culture definitely plays a role in the conflict. Okay, so I hope that helps to make students understand what's really at stake and what's really happening underneath the story and underneath the surface of the story. Thank you.